Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be doing kind of a follow-up video on one of my most popular videos I published last year. Among the most popular videos I have on my channel are my free-to-play guides, but my 7th most viewed video with 40,000 views is this one, 10 characters every player needs to relic first. So I was given out advice before I started my new account on what characters players need to relic first. And I thought it'd be fun to go through, since I started a new account, I have at least 10 relics, to go through what my first 10 relic characters were. And when did I have this come out? This was, what's the specific date? August 2023. Okay, so a lot of time from then. Han Solo was one of them. So let's look at what my actual first 10 relics were on my new account in 2024 in the order I applied them. So my first relic character on this account was indeed Anakin. He was on my list of recommended characters last year, but that was even before the Marauder came out. So the main reason I got Anakin to relics, he's great on his own as a character, does lots of damage, but the big thing is his ship. It's hard to know where to put my camera. His ship hits so hard. This has been completely instrumental in me being able to get number 1 in Fleet Arena, and that was even before. I recommended it before Marauder, but it's still an integral part of that lineup. Even once you have Marauder, it goes in the starting lineup. So he did big damage with his ship, and he just gave me an option. Like, I still use him as a plug and play, something that's been very helpful in like challenges, conquest. Even if I'm not using him with Jedi, is his basic with healing immunity. The healing immunity, sometimes it's like there's a character that's going to heal constantly, so you really need to shut them down. Big damage, been able to get a lot of feats done with this AoE in Galactic Challenges. I started out getting him, I think, to Relic 5 pretty quickly, and then I ended up at Relic 7. I'm going to leave him at that for now. Like, Relic 8 is very expensive, but I do not regret. This was a fantastic first Relic character, and I think with how important fleets are, and that Galactic Republic fleet being one of the most easily accessible endgame fleets, I think this is a great first choice for pretty much anybody. And my second Relic character in 2024, also on my recommended list from last year, Darth Vader. And I got him Relic like a week after Anakin, so those two were pretty close in proximity. And I don't regret it at all. He is fantastic in the early game, very easily accessible. He also has a ship. It was not as integral or as important as Anakin's ship, although it will be. I think moving forward, it's going to be a lot more important. You can farm it in Galactic War. It's going to help you with those Zeta Match challenges. So his importance has only grown since I relicked him. I settled on Relic 5. I think I had him low relics for a while, like 2 or 3, and then eventually got him to 5. But his impact, the tags are so important. Empire and Sith. So he's running with Palpatine. I have gotten through Challenge Tier 2 in 2 separate assault battles with him. Out of the 6 accessible assault battles, excluding Inquisitors and, you know, the Duel of the Fates is new. Those 6 most accessible, those are the farthest I've gotten. And a big thanks to Vader, because he gets his Force Crush, Merciless Massacre, really gets the Terminator train going under Palpatine. I didn't relic Palpatine, but he is a really important character. So definitely still recommend Darth Vader as an early relic. And again, my number 2 this year. My third relic was not one that I recommended last year, and it's because I didn't recommend her because she is not that dynamic of a character on her own. Just Ahsoka Tano's Snips wasn't Snips when I relicked her. But it's not because of how she does in the ground game. It's because of her ship. I mean, just like Anakin, building that endgame fleet early and getting number 1. I'm getting number 1 pretty much every day in Fleet Arena now. 400 crystals a day. Without spending, even against all these, you know, negotiator, lightspeed bundle purchasers, and even players that get profundity. She is a huge deal there, and her ship is in the starting lineup that I used to beat profundity, not the one I used to beat executor. But that ship is just fantastic. It comes in, it dispels when you come in. You have a dispel here, and it's just big damage. I mean, the biggest thing is it has big damage. It's very easily accessible. You find it in Galactic War Store and Fleet Arena Store, so you can farm it up really fast. So that's why it was a natural third choice for me. It was a while after I did Anakin and Darth Vader, so she wasn't a huge priority. And again, it was almost entirely based on fleets. So that was my number 3. And my 4th, I think you should see a pattern by now, was General Kenobi. I did recommend him last year, is because he's an amazing tank, and also he is the fleet commander of one of the best capital ships in the game, Negotiator. I'd say it's the probably 4th best capital ship in the game right now, behind the 3 super galactic legend ships that take tons of relics to unlock. It is difficult to unlock because you need a lot of guild currency. But I was able to unlock it in a few months at 5 stars, and you don't need the ship at 7 stars to relic. So got Kenobi up. I took him to like relic 5 early on. Eventually got him up to 7 once I 7-starred my negotiator, because I was able to actually outspeed other negotiators in the shard. For the longest time I couldn't. But no, don't regret it at all. I mean, number 4, he's amazing. Great stats. I mean, the survivability is crazy. And he's a great plug-and-play tank. If I need to, he's my only good tank, really. I mean, he taunts whenever anyone gets crit, so you just throw him in anywhere. A lot of his kit is just based around all allies, not even Galactic Republic. And I don't need a Zeta because I'm not running him with Galactic Republic all the time, necessarily. So just fantastic character. If I do get a Zeta, it'll probably just be for the ship. But yeah, Kenobi, my number 4. Number 5, we have the first character I took to Relics, not because of a ship. So at this point, with a Relic, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Kenobi, I had fleet pretty much locked down. And I was starting to need more good characters for Grand Arena. So once I got Savage's Omicron, I took him to Relics. He's just Relic 3, but the amount of holds I've gotten with him is just unbelievable. At first, I just put him with random garbage because I didn't have much of a support team. Now I have Nihilus and Trey to put with him, and Trey is Omicron. And he's won me multiple Grand Arena matches just holding the line in defense. At first, I used him on offense and then used him on defense. I've talked about it at length in plenty of other videos. I won't go into details about the Omicron, but it's amazing. And I did not regret Savage at Relic 5. I got him to Relic 5 in week 23 of the account, and my 6th Relic was actually way later on in week 32, so 9 weeks in between, about 2 months. And my number 6 was Wampa, and he goes into Relics for basically the exact same reason as Savage: Grand Arena dominance, solo character, except you use him exclusively on offense. Both of them were in my recommended video, by the way, so those two, I think 5 out of my first 6 were actually recommended in the video from last year. So Wampa definitely was one of those, and his Omicron is just fantastic. But he actually has a lot more use than I thought outside of Grand Arena, namely in territory battles. So I throw him. I have a great Imperial Trooper team and Palpatine team in territory battle, Darkside Geonosis. And then the last team, I just kind of have a bunch of hodgepodge characters I can use, and Wampa is my main damage dealer there, and I get waves done with Wampa in TB. So he's not just doing Grand Arena. I also throw him in if I have a generic event that just needs a lot of AoE damage, like one of those Dathomir events. I use him in that, but mainly just Grand Arena, and fantastic character. He was my number 6. Relic number 7. He probably would have been earlier on if I was able to farm him in time. I started farming him before he was accelerated, so I was getting 1 shard at a time. So it was a lot in part thanks to not being able to get him to 7 stars fast that he fell all the way to 7. I did not recommend him last year, but in my defense, he was pretty new last year, and I didn't know how that was going to shake out. I don't even know if he was farmable at the time I made that video last year, so there was only so much I could predict. But he is amazing. He's like a top 25 character in this game that's not a GL. He does everything. I mean, the tags, Phoenix, Rebel. He single-handedly helps you dominate military might, the assault battle with Phoenix, and get through Secrets and Shadows. So I'm able to do Challenge Tier 1 Secrets and Shadows without Night Sisters, without having to farm a whole other team just to do that because of Captain Rex. The stat boosts are insane. The mass swarms are insane. I have his Omicron. This ability, crazy. 3 amazing debuffs, lots of good buffs. Turn meter. He's just, I mean, he was made, kind of busted to fix a terrible team. I have him at Relic 7. He is thankfully needed for Leia, so a lot of these later relic choices are kind of factoring into my pursuit of Galactic Legend Leia. And it is no sacrifice to take him to Relic 7 because he is just amazing. So Relic 7 for my 7th relic of 2024. And my 8th relic is Commander Luke Skywalker. I kind of dragged my feet on getting the whole CLS crew up and running because they weren't serving the... I already had Rebels locked down with Phoenix for that assault battle, so there wasn't a pressing need for another Rebel team. But once I got kind of my assault battles locked down and I needed to start fighting for Galactic Legend Leia, it was a natural starting point, and he is like probably the best go-to team for Conquest, and he is my go-to team right now. Like, he's even over Phoenix in a lot of cases just because Han's shooting first. The Relic 7 stats are fantastic because 3PO and Chewie shares them with the whole team. I have him at Relic 7 for Leia. That's where he is required to be. But it's a great place to be. I mean, eventually, my main account has him at Relic 8. It's only one step higher. Definitely don't regrets. Highly recommend number 8 for CLS. And number 9, R2-D2. This is pretty much exclusively because I am deeply focusing on Galactic Legend Leia. I'm working on other teams, but I'm not relicking them right now because all those materials I want to save for the pursuit of a Galactic Legend because I am feeling the need to start getting a Galactic Legend. Relic 8 is my first and only Relic 8. I had arrow magnifiers built up from early on in the game when I didn't know what to buy with my tier 3 currency. We get 1,500 per raid. We run the raid every 8 days or so. So I'm able to get those slowly. Thankfully, I'm not going to need a ton of Relic 8s in the near future. They are a pain to farm. He's not one I'd recommend on his own. Like, I wouldn't recommend him just because he's an amazing character. He doesn't have a ship. He's not changing the game with any teams. He's okay until you get Leia. Then he's amazing. But he was just exclusively a requirement. But my number 10 was not because of Leia. My 10th relic character was Hunter of Bad Batch. This is mainly because of ships. I do see a lot of benefit in the land game as well. But what happened was my Marauder was not quite fast enough to get done what I needed to do. So I was upgrading all my characters until I got to 166 speed, because you add in the 15 speed from one of their uniques, and you get 181, and 181 is 1 speed faster than a 5-star Profundity, which I have to face a lot in Fleet Arena. So it's a very specific reason I got him to Relic 4 and stopped. Also gave him his Zeta. He's great though. I mean, the Bad Batch don't need to, like, once if they get to go first, they're off to the races. Even without the relics, he was doing good damage. But now that he has the relics, his offense is a lot better. And the true damage spread across the enemy team, fantastic. I don't have fantastic mods on him, but I do have 6 dots. I made sure of that for Fleet. So yeah, most of this video, it was either Fleet, GAC, or Galactic Legend farm. I mean, the highest values I definitely think are, like, aside from Fleet, is probably Darth Vader. I mean, he's going to get you the furthest in a lot of different ways in PvE. Anakin was great too, so I don't regret any of these. So now let's just take one last look at the characters I didn't farm from my video that I recommended at Relics, and the ones I did instead, and compare that. So here it is. I have 2 squad loadouts here. The first are characters I recommended people do as their first relics, and the second row is what I actually did instead. That was not on my list. And there's a good reason for all of them. It's not like I'm not gearing them at all. I mean, Bosk and Yoda are one piece away. I just decided it's not worth the Chirotech. I need to allocate the Chirotech somewhere else in the meantime. Han Solo's also gear 12. I mean, he's amazing. It's just he's not required for Leia, and I decided to go for Leia. If I decided to go for Jabba first, probably would have had Han Solo in Relics first. Dark Trooper, it was a good thought, but the Chirotech grind was a lot more real to me when I started the account, so I didn't want to slap more Chirotech on him. And they're able to, like, I would need 200 Chirotech pieces to get to gear 12, and then another 100. So 300 Chirotech pieces to get him to Relics. So that's a huge concern for him. Otherwise, he is a good Relic, so he's someone I'm going to keep my eye on, but my troopers are doing what I need them to, even without it. Yoda, I mean, I do wish I had him at Relics, but just hard to deal with. And then Bosk, great for the ship. So close, I almost relicked him, but then I just started having other priorities pop up. Jolie's the one I'm not even close to like relicking. He doesn't need Chirotech, but I just really dragged my feet on the Revan team. He would be fantastic. I do want to probably work on him after Leia, to get like a proper giant Revan team going. Because right now I don't have I have mainly a Qui-Gon Jinn team, and then Revan's kind of like, I don't know, that he's kind of out of place in Grand Arena. But yeah, Jolie just completely went by the wayside. I mean, I explained why for all these others. Captain Rex was pretty new, so that's why I didn't recommend. CLS is kind of in the same vein as Han Solo, but he actually does make more sense. R2-D2, not thrilled about it, but it was just requirements. Ahsoka, I didn't have her recommended in the ships thing because I didn't realize how big of a deal early game Galactic Republic fleets were. I still hadn't come to the conclusion that Marauder is going to revolutionize the early game for fleet players. So that's why I didn't recommend that. And then Hunter, it was a very specific reason for me in this account. So that's it. That is my first 10 relics of 2024. Why it differs a little bit from my own recommendations, but I don't think it strays that far. I hope you learned from this. Hope this helps you if you're planning a new account this year or later. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks. See you later.